OpenSIPS script generation. One of the things that are really difficult on OpenSIPS that takes some time to learn are the OpenSIPS.cfg file. This OpenSIPS.cfg file is the configuration file where you have the modules that you're loading and your routing logic. It takes time, and we teach on the OpenSIPS Bootcamp how to create and the meaning of all these instructions. But in this quick start, we're going to get a shortcut. So a way to generate this script with anything you need without having to program. So this is one of the good things of OpenSIPS 3.1. It started in the OpenSIPS, I think 1.11. You can generate your base script. Then instead of developing from the beginning, you can hack, you can change, you can adapt the logic to your own needs. So let's generate the OpenSIPS configuration. I'm going to use an utility and usbin osips config to generate. Before I can use this, I have to install the M4 processor. So let me do this first. Now I can go to /usr /sbin osips config. Okay, so it's an nCourses utility. So I'm going to generate an OpenSIPS script. I'm going to generate a residential script. There are three types. The residential, where you have phones and you have connection to the PSTN and incoming calls. You have a trunking script that it's more using dynamic routing and authentication by IP. And load balancer script. These are the three types. Here, we are going to use the residential script. So residential, configure the residential script. So I want to enable TCP. I will not enable TLS because I don't have any certificate on this machine. I will use aliases. So the ability to call one number and get to the other, call an alias. Use authentication. Yes. Use DBACC. Okay. So accounting to the database. User location table in the database. So the registrations will go to the database. Use a dialog module. Yes, I want to count calls. I want to have to be able to disconnect calls from the script to have control over the dialogues. I will use multi-domain. So domain A will be different than domain B. So we can have, as an example, an extension 1000 in one domain, different than extension 1000 in another domain. No NAT traversal. We have everything local. No presence for now. Use dial plan. No diversion to the voicemail because we don't have voicemails on the system. We have support for inbound PSTN. We have support for outbound PSTN. We are going to use the dynamic routing module to send calls to the PSTN. And definitely we want to use the HTTP management interface to connect to the control panel. Perfect. Let's save the configuration. And now we can generate. It will generate a script on etc, OpenSIPS, OpenSIPS residential, and so on. Great. So I have generated my script, ls-l. So I can see that my script is generated here. One important thing, there's no read permission for other users instead of root. So let's change this. 755 OpenSIPS residential. Perfect. So let me move this OpenSIPS residential on top of OpenSIPS.cfg. Perfect. Now I'm going to use, let me install first VIM. I hate to use the standard VI. VIM is easier to use. Okay. Nice. So let me open OpenSIPS.cfg. So this is the script I have generated. And here we have the IP address. So to make it work, I have to change this IP address to the IP address of my machine, that it's 192.168.15.94. If you want to know, you can use IP address show 15.94. Okay, there's another way you can do this. Let me do an if config, IP address show. We know that we have ENP0S3 as the name of the interface and 192.168.15.94. So I have two ways to change here. I can also use ENPS03. Let me use ENPS03. Okay, is ENP0S3. Oh, so it's different, sorry. ENP0S3. ENP0S3. Okay. So it's done, it's ready. So systemctl restart OpenSIPS. It's restarted. Systemctl status OpenSIPS. So we are now running this OpenSIPS server with the new configuration. With this new configuration, I can create users and I can start making calls using the standard utility. Okay, perfect. Let me see if I can show you the last thing, netstat. Let's see if it's installed. No. apt install net tools. Okay, netstat dash tempo pipe grab OpenSIPS. Sorry. Here I can see which ports OpenSIPS is running, so I can see that I have TCP on 192.168.15.94 open on the 5060. I have the MI interface on 8888. This is dangerous, so we should make something about this. I prefer to have on the loop back. You have to pay attention to not allow external internet access to this port. And there are also some TCP addresses connected to the 5060, so you're running also on a port on the TCP because we are binding to the interface, not to the IP address. So everything's here, UDP and TCP on both IPv4 and IPv5. Here on the opensips.cfg, if you look at the MI HTTP interface, we have the port. We can insert here mode parameter HTTPD address. I think it's IP address. Okay, just to make sure. I never know for sure. So OpenSIPS HTTPD module. HTTPD module. So let's see, IP. So actually it's just IP. So let me get back here. So, okay. Systemctl restart OpenSIPS. Something wrong. tail/var/log/opensips.log. Sorry. syslog. Let's see. Mode parameter. HTTPS. No, it's HTTPD. That's why it's wrong. So here. Okay, restarted. running. Perfect. Now let me go to the control panel. Let me admin OpenSIPS. So we don't have nothing here. Probably have seen my first screen some users created, but I have restored my virtual machine to the state where no users were created, so don't worry. So the first thing you have to create is the domain. So let me go to the domain. And in domain here, you have two options. You can use your own IP address as the domain, or you can use, let me start with the 192.168.15.94. I'm going to use my IP address as a domain. I could use also proper domain, so opensips.org. Let me create both domains. Let me do a reload on server. If you look at here, I'm sending to the JSON command. There's a problem here, there's a catch. That is, we have a new module called OpenSIPS MI HTTP module. This is the HTTP module connecting to connect where OpenSIPS control panel connects. And there's the root. The root has changed from JSON to MI, so I have to reflect this change in the configuration of the control panel. So, okay, let me do this. vr/var/www/html OpenSIPS control panel. There's a config directory on the OpenSIPS control panel and a file called boxes.global.inc.php. On this file, I will change this JSON here to MI. I actually have reported this on GitHub on the OpenSIPS CP project. I hope it will be fixed sometime. It's because there was a change between the version 3.0 and 3.1, and there was a mismatch in a way, the config files generated and the OpenSIPS control panel. But with this simple fix, everything now should be fine. So let me go back to my control panel here. So let me reload. Domains. So I have our domains here. Let me do a reload now. Success. So now I'm using MI as a root. So the root of the APIs. So now everything seems working. Now I can create users and I can start using my OpenSIPS server with the configuration file. So this ends our video. Our objective here was to generate a basic residential script for us to run. Thank you.